Don't be sour like a lemon, take a swig of your pop. Don't let yourself loose, don't make yourself stop. Express yourself, don't make yourself stop. Express yourself, you'll be feeling on top. I don't know how to say this, how to tell you can't resist. Boy, when you put on a show, I hit the floor, my legs go jelly. I'm going coconut, I'm feeling it too much. I'm going coconut, my legs feel like jelly. Getting frisky, boy, talk to me, baby, turning red like a cherry. Oh, I'm going coconut, we're getting wavy like. We can do this all night, making jello delight. We can do this all night, come and get it tonight. Oh, getting frisky, boy, talk to me, baby, turning red like a cherry. Oh, I'm going coconut. Don't be hiding when you need and take a chance on the spot. Don't be spilling milkshake, give it all you got. Express yourself, don't make yourself stop. Express yourself, you'll be feeling on top. I don't know how to say this, how to tell you can't resist. Boy, when you put on a show, I hit the floor, my legs go jelly. I wanna be so very, I wanna feel like every moment is alive. Heavy, my heart tells me I'm ready. You take me on the roller coaster of my life. My legs go. I don't know how to say this, how to tell you can't resist. Boy, when you put on a show, I hit the floor, my legs go jelly. I'm going coconut, I'm feeling it too much.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the most exciting Scholastic Esports Playoff Reveal show out there. Maybe because we're the only one, but I like to think that it's exciting nonetheless. Welcome, everybody, to the Winter Playoff Reveal show. My name is Chris Aviles. I am the president of Garden State Esports, and as always, I am joined by our director of competition, Mike Johnson. Mike, good evening, sir.
Hello, hello.
We come back, I believe, for the 21st iteration of our playoff winter preparation and reveal. It feels like it was just yesterday that we started. But here we are, 7 years, maybe 20 seasons, maybe 21 seasons. Who's keeping count? But as always, it's a pleasure, sir, to have you and to, you know, reveal to our friends at home and our players and coaches who is coming to Georgian Court University, whether straight away or whether they have to win a virtual round first. How you doing tonight, buddy?
I'm excited. We got some spicy brackets coming up that we're going to talk about, and I'm excited to see how everything shakes out at the greatest scholastic esports event in the country. 2,500 people on a basketball court is no joke. So we put on a big show, and these are the teams that have put in the work over 7 or 8 weeks, plus whatever preseason practice they worked on in order to get to the big dance and compete for a belt.
Yeah, and somebody pointed out the Olympic winter opening ceremony is going off at the same time as this.
Well,
I would say, obviously, rivaling the pomp and circumstance of
of
the Winter
course.
Olympics, we have the playoff reveal show. So, as always, Mike, as we transition over,
Yes.
walk us through the math.
Yeah, so for folks that are joining us maybe for their first season, just because as we continue to grow, we select teams to make the playoffs based on a formula we've devised that we call playoff score. And we do this because the nature of scholastic esports, the spread of teams into conferences is not always the exact same numbers, and everybody playing the exact same matches against, same season lengths and things like that. So we created a formula to account for your in-match performance. So how many of the games of the best of three or the best of five were you able to win? plus your match by match winning percentage, and then it scales that and normalizes it. So if you look back over the schedule, you'll see that some conferences played 6 weeks and some conferences played 7 weeks. And we want to judge everyone on a level playing field. So we've got a nice little pie graph there, breaking it down on just how much your in-game winning percentage, your match winning percentage, and just how many raw points you get for wins, losses, and ties. How much that is weighted in the playoff score formula.
Beautiful. And we do have the full formula here. If you've ever wondered when you're going to use this in real life, I would also like to take the opportunity to appreciate that you got a little tape on your head. We really went all out with this scene. We got multiple layers going on. So we have like our Saved by the Bell, multi-layer thing going on. I was really proud that I figured out how to do that. So I just want to make sure
that everyone understands.
That everybody sees, can appreciate what's going on here. But the other thing, right, that we need to go over is that seeding process. Anytime you guys, compete, we want to make sure that we're doing our best to make sure the best teams rise to the top, right? It's always important to understand that seeding is not a science, it's an art. And our goal as the seeding team is to make sure that the best teams win a state championship, right? And that's how you know that we're doing our job. And historically, we do a pretty solid job at that, right? Not too many upsets when you get to a state finals, and that's what you're looking for. So when we decide, how are we going to place our team's playoff score is going to be the major factor, like Mike said, because it captures everything that you achieved during your season and also compares it to what everybody else that you have played or is in your conference, what they've achieved as well. One of the biggest things, though, is the head-to-head wins. If you beat somebody who is directly above you in the seeding list, you can jump them. You can't jump, more than one place, right? So let's say you're the 8th seeded team and you got lucky, you beat the 1st seeded team. You're not jumping all other 7 teams, right? But basically, once we seed you based on playoff score, if there is a head-to-head win against the team above you, right, you get to go ahead and jump them, and we're going to see some of that. Outside of that, right, conference champs, they always get that first seed, and then from there it goes to any head-to-head wins, then fewest players suspended, fewest forfeits, record versus common opponents, best wins, and then strength of schedule, which is the average of all playoff scores from your schedule, including your own. And then we should probably change this slide at some point because we've gotten away from the coin flip, and
that's true.
We roll the 20-sided die.
We roll a d20.
But
anytime.
I guess
it's just cooler.
Unfortunately, no dice rolls this time.
No
around.
Dice rolls, but I think this is the first one that I can remember where we actually have common opponents.
Yes,
come into play.
It's been a minute since we had common opponents.
Yeah, because ever since we moved to a sort of standardized 8-team conference, sometimes it's 7 teams and you only play 6 weeks. Ever since we shrank those conferences down to 8 teams, common opponents never really came into play because all of your opponents were common. But
right.
In a couple of titles, we had some 11-team conferences out there where some of the teams did not play everybody, and so we actually have some common opponent tiebreakers coming up. For all you seeding nerds out there, all you young folk that aspire to be seeders in the future,
bracketologists.
I hope this can inspire you. All those young Nate Silvers out there, Ken Palms.
Back when I was seeding wrestling for District 7, man, nothing was better than arguing over common opponents. If my kid beat that kid and your kid beat that kid, well then my kid beat your kid, even though we never wrestled.
Right, the transitive property is always fun.
And it never did not end in an argument, which was always fantastic. But so talk a little bit about, you said 8 size brackets. Walk through, how we decide how many teams we're taking to the playoffs.
Sure. So I'm going to start at the middle of these bullet points first to answer your question. Our goal is always to make 50% of the league make the playoffs. And we accomplish that by making sure that we have regular season schedules that accurately represent the comparative skill of the teams playing. And just like in traditional sports, the best way that we found to do that is to group schools based on their school size. It is much easier to find five diamond or above Overwatch players in a player pool of 2,000 students in your student body than it is to find five diamond or above Overwatch players in a student body of 450, or some of our schools that are way down in the low 100s for their student bodies, right? So we want to make sure that schools of comparable sizes are competing against each other to create a level playing field, and then that is going to make the cream rise to the top in those best teams comparatively in their school size groupings. So what we do is we rank when we come out with a schedule at the beginning of the year. We order every single school that's participating in a title in order of their school population, and then we divide them equally into four groups, and we weight that towards the smaller side. We want to protect those smaller schools because whenever you get to those dividing lines between groups, sometimes it's a 200, 300 kid bump to
Right.
go from group two to group three because that's just how things laid out. From there, if we need to, we'll divide those groups geographically into separate conferences. So you'll see that when we get to Overwatch, where we have four distinct group brackets. Uh, for the most part, they were all then divided into North and South. Um, and at the end of the day, our bracket size that we always like to go to is 8. So when you have, say, Group 2 divided into Group 1, Group 2 North and Group 2 South, each with 8 teams, 50% of those top 4-ish from each conference, weighted here and there, based on how playoff score works, you're going to get 8 out of those 16 teams into the playoffs. So the way that works out for this season is for our high school Overcooked. We have two 8-team brackets. We combine groups 1 and 2 together, and then we combine groups 3 and 4 together. For Street Fighter, we did the exact same thing. For Overwatch, we had enough teams where we were able to create 4 distinct playoff brackets with each group in their own bracket. For middle school Overcooked, we had enough teams for the entire state to play a regular season together. That's one of those super conferences where not everybody played everybody, so the playoffs could get interesting. And we're taking 8 of those teams into a playoff bracket. And for Valkyrie Overwatch, we wound up actually doing a double round robin regular season based on how many teams there were. There's not a lot of sense there in making a whole bunch of teams play a third match against each other. Like, you know who is really at the top of that conference
Right.
After a double round robin. So we're just taking the top 2 teams from that double round robin straight to a final. And even that is really interesting, as we're going to see. Even after a double round robin, there's not a lot separating some of these teams. So.
Right. Beautiful. So there you go. That's how the sausage is made, how we come up with the playoff formula, how we seed the teams, and then how we decide who gets to go to the playoffs, right? For those new, you can understand the process, right? But other than that, I think we're ready.
Yes.
All right.
To the sausage.
To the sausage itself. Let's get started with middle school Overcooked. Walk us through.
This was one of those big conferences where we had more than 8 teams in the conference, so not everybody played everybody. But we do see Madawan as an undisputed conference champion. So when we get to slides that look like this and we list out the seeds in a row, any school with a star next to their name was a conference champion. So Madawan gets the top seed after going 7-0. And then right off the bat is our common opponent tiebreaker. So Renaissance and South Amboy had the exact same playoff score, the exact same records, but they didn't all play the same schedule. In the 4 opponents that those schools had in common, Renaissance went undefeated while South Amboy had a loss.
Mm-hmm.
So Renaissance gets that 2 seed, and South Amboy gets the 3. Burnett is here at our 4 seed, followed by Bayshore, Stafford Intermediate, the Boys and Girls Club of Camden County coming in, and the Sprain School for the Deaf, our out-of-state friends, rounding out the top 8. So they're going to be booking some hotel rooms and coming on down to Lakewood.
Wonderful. And so we throw that up on the bracket. We got Madawan playing Scranton in the first round, Burnett playing Bayshore, old enemies there. We got South Amboy playing Stafford, and then we got Renaissance playing the Boys and Girls Club of Camden County in the first round. And that round will take place at Georgian Court University. So if you see your school on this bracket, you better make sure you have a bus because you're coming to Georgian Court. We will see you February 21st, bright and early. So get ready to play. And so as always, the other thing that we like to do is we like to do our picks for who do we think is going to win. Who do we think, is somebody to keep an eye on? And usually that's somebody, a school we take from the top half of the bracket. And then we have our dark horse. Our dark horse is our school from the bottom half of the bracket who we think might be able to come along and surprise everybody, have their own Cinderella story, and win a state championship. And so I don't know what the score is, Mike. I don't know if you know the score, but I'm pretty sure we're basically tied in picks. No, you're winning?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So
I don't know the exact numbers, but I do know that I've won the last 2 seasons.
well, we're gonna see what we can do about that because my picks are fire. Madawan has had a dominant performance so far in Overcooked, so I have them as my win. To watch, I like South Amboy. South Amboy made some noise this season. Put up some good numbers, didn't drop too many rounds, and so when I look at a team in the top 4 that may be able to knock off Madawan, it's going to be South Amboy, and it looks like, they would see each other in the finals. So maybe we see a South Amboy Madawan finals. What do you have?
I also have to go with Madawan. I believe they won last year, so they're coming back. They've been there before and appear to have picked up where they left off. But see Burnett, pick Burnett. Burnett had to be on my list somewhere. I know we're not playing Super Smash Brothers, but I'm keeping an eye out on them as a strong middle of the pack seed. And I'm interested to see the rivalry between Mr. Juris and Miss Miller. I think they're sick of seeing one another at the playoffs because it always seems to be they will find a way to compete. So they are my dark horse as my team out of the bottom half of the bracket to perhaps pull off some upsets.
Bitter rivals and quite a few state championships between Madawan, Burnett, and Bayshore. So South Amboy and Stafford might have their work cut out for them, but if anybody could do it, I think it might be them. And so we take a look at our next competition. Mike, walk us through Valkyrie League and what that means.
Absolutely. The slide's a little old because we didn't update it for the spring games yet. But our Valkyrie League is our distinct additional championship level season for girls, marginalized genders, and non-binary persons. We have this league set up to increase engagement among those populations within esports. We know they're there. We know they're playing. And our goal is to get them into esports arenas across the state, get them onto teams, get them into the programs so that they can show us just how good they are. And because we've seen that sometimes, the primarily male population of our esports programs can be intimidating, even if we all know they're sweethearts. It's a little bit of a bump to get over. So we create this space for them to, feel confident in themselves. And then what we found is that with the existence of Valkyrie League, these players that are Valkyrie eligible will then step onto their co-ed teams and continue to excel. So I've had Valkyrie players step onto the championship team as well, the co-ed team, and be a leader in that group. When we get to our all-star selections, you're going to see some Valkyrie players that are also all-stars on the co-ed side at the same time. And that's why it's played on a different day. It's championship level. We don't ever want these players to have to choose because then we're putting another speed bump in front of them getting in the door, right?
Exactly.
But Valkyrie is a super cool league. It's great to see the frenemies and rivalries form. For a long time, it was WPSD and Mercer Tech as the big rivalry in Valkyrie. But now we've seen the Bayonne Plainfield rivalry develop where if there's a shooter game, they are there.
Bayonne and Plainfield.
And they're just ready to play.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, Valkyrie, since we instituted it a couple years ago, when we noticed that our population among those players was about 6% of our league, it has since grown where Valkyrie players make up about a quarter of our league. So we're going to continue to fight that good fight until we get it to 50%, like we think it should be. But we are always excited to do everything, whether it's through Valkyrie, whether it's through our unified league. We want as many kids in the game as possible, and that's something we really take a lot of pride in, though.
I'm super excited for the spring where we've got Valkyrie Valorant again. That's always a fun time. And we're adding this year
Valkyrie Mario Kart is going to be nuts.
super accessible title. It's 2v2, so all you need are 2 players. If you've got a player poking around the program, tell them find a buddy, and sign up, because Valkyrie is a fun time. But it can get just as intense
Right.
as we're about to see when we go into these top 2 teams for the winter.
Yeah, absolutely. So after the double round robin, Mike, it looks like Plainfield and Bayonne have been called up again.
Yeah, their numbers up again. After the double round robin, they beat everybody else, but couldn't get past one another.
Which
This
is cool, right?
They split the season series 1-1. Bayonne wound up dropping a map to another team during the schedule, so that's how Plainfield gets the conference championship.
Right.
So they get to pick the control map that we play on. That's the home field advantage. But it's these 2 teams back again. I think they were our final for Valkyrie Valor in the spring, so it'll be fun to see a lot of the same faces competing in another title.
Yeah, absolutely. And throwing it up on the bracket, we're going right after it. It is Plainfield versus Bayonne out of the gate for the state championship, best of 5. So, Plainfield and Bayonne, make sure you got your bus, because you are coming to Georgian Court February 21st to compete. Mike, you picked Plainfield. So I just took Bayonne. I'm riding with Bayonne, okay? I think Coach Fung over there, I think he's going to get it done. I think we're going to see Bayonne take home their first Valkyrie state championship.
I think Mr. T has his gang ready to play, and I think it's another belt going to Plainfield.
There you go. Either way, it's going to be exciting. It always is. Anytime you get Valkyrie action, you see the crowds form, right? Everybody wants to come and watch. So, our next league is going to be High School Overcooked. Looks like you got a familiar name up at the top there, Mike.
Oh, well. So High School Overcooked, we have our groups 1 and 2 combined bracket here. Coming out as the top seed is a little-known school, West Essex Regional High School. As our number 1 seed, the champions of Group 2. Waldwick, champions of Group 1, coming at that 2 seed, followed up by Cape May Tech. Very strong showing as the 3. Middle Township, again, playoff returners at the 4. Manasquan, finalists from last year, as our 5 seed. Technology High is our 6. Ocean Township is the 7, and Center School rounds out the bracket as 8 seed.
Fantastic. And so looking at it on that bracket, you're going to have the Mike Johnson West Essex team taking on Center School. You got Middle Township taking on Squan. Cape May Tech is going to take on Technology High, and Waldwick is going to take on Ocean. And I want to double check that I'm correct, that it is it is Technology High, not High Tech. So Technology High, I believe this may be and it also may be their first playoff berth. So very cool.
Yeah.
Taking a look at picks. I'm gonna call a little bit of an upset here. I think we're sleeping. I think we're sleeping on Cape May. I think Cape May is gonna shock the world. So, I know coaches in the chat. I know the players are always watching. I'm assuming at Cape May they're cheering and chanting my name. But I'm looking for a little surprise action here. I got Cape May to win. I'm gonna keep it down south, and I'm gonna take Middle Township as my team to watch. I just feel like, when you think about cooking, I'm thinking about South Jersey. I'm thinking about pork roll. Maybe a cheesesteak bleeding over the border. I'm just saying.
Sure. Remind me again where the Cake Boss is from.
I don't even know who the Cake Boss is.
You don't know who the Cake Boss is?
So he must be from North Jersey.
He's from North Jersey. He's from Hoboken.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, so I'm going to pick West Essex. I'm going to go out on a limb and roll the dice here and pick my own team to win. I've watched these kids play Overcooked for at least 2 months before the season even started. It's just very businesslike. They come in, they take the Switch out of the closet where it's stored, they pop it in, and they play Overcooked for 2 hours, 4 days a week. So I have a feeling it's going to pay off. They pull off some really crazy strategies, and I think they have the power to go all the way. But I got my eye on Waldwick. We scrimmaged them very early in the season, and it was very close. So I've got my eye on them. They're making me nervous. But my dark horse is Ocean, which was the site of the Great Cheese War of
Yes.
2025,
Yes.
where the second half of the entire map was just both of us throwing cheese at each other,
I remember.
trying to interfere and sabotage. So Ocean's very crafty. They have a way of getting under your skin, and I think that especially in the pit of where Overcooked's going to be played, a lot of people standing around. The kitchen is already chaos, and now they're just throwing cheese at you. I think that can have them make a run.
There you go. And I think Squan's due. Squan is due for something. Coach Edwards runs a great program. I can see Squan bringing home a title, if not in Overcooked somewhere else. But yeah, I think either way, it's going to be a lot of fun. I would tell you, maybe to the shock of many, that watching, it's tough for me. It's either Overcooked or 2v2 Smash are my favorite esport title to watch. And
Because they're just chaos.
it's just, and I just love the chaos. And, I guess since we don't have 2v2 Overwatch anymore, I got to go to Overcooked, man. Overcooked is just bananas. It's a lot
Overcooked
of
is
fun.
absolutely insane to watch, and they're playing at such a level that you're going to see at championships, especially as we get into the later rounds, where these are the real high quality teams, and they're scoring thousands of points on maps where my wife and I score we're happy to get 450. They're throwing ingredients to each other. They're banking it off walls. It's insane. This couch party game.
Mm.
How the competitive drive in these kids to just continue to improve and milk every pixel into the greatest advantage. I love watching Overcooked. It's,
Yeah,
it's
it's a
awesome.
good time. But let's talk about high school Overcooked Group 3 and 4 now.
Yeah, so groups 3 and 4 is a powerful bracket. Freehold Borough, completely undefeated, didn't drop a single map. They're your champions out of Group 3. Bloomfield are your champions out of Group 4, and they get the top 2 seeds there. Morris Hills 6-1, Eastern 6-1. Very few just maps dropped during wins here, right? So it's a best of 5 series. So if you're 6-1 and you're 18-4, that means you're basically clean as well, right?
Right.
So these are some pretty powerful teams that are performing at a really high level. We have Livingston, our defending champions, coming in as the 5 seed, so they are back again. I believe they were a middling seed when they won last year.
Right.
So they're very capable of making a run. Coach Rotman down there. And we have Central Regional, High Tech, and Hamilton. Hamilton, I think, is new-ish or
Mhm.
returning after some time away to the in-person events, so it'll be fun to see them again. But those are your top 8 out of groups 3 and 4.
Beautiful. We throw it up on the bracket. It's going to be Freehold versus Hamilton, Eastern versus Livingston. You got Morris Hills versus Central, and you got Bloomfield versus High Tech. Mike, who do you think?
I got Borough. It's tough to deny running that Group 3 gauntlet with some pretty powerful teams and not losing anything to any of them. But I'm keeping my eye on Morris Hills, again, a Group 3 team. I think Group 3 is very strong.
Mm-hmm.
But my heart lies with Livingston. I actually got a handshake because I picked them to win last year, and they did.
Nice.
And I believe they thanked me in their acceptance speech of the belt.
Yeah.
I think Mr. DeMarco handed them the microphone, anything you want to say, and they just grabbed the mic and said, "Shout out to Mike Johnson." So
Yeah, for believing.
if Livingston's in the bracket, they're getting a pick from me. I don't care where they are.
There you go. Love it. On my side, if it's not Freehold, I'd like to see Bloomfield take something home. We got our friends from Eastern, I think, can make some noise. And then, even though I went to Lacey Township High School, I will pick our bitter rival, Central Regional, to make some noise. The Golden Eagles, they put in some work over there. So hopefully they'll be able to step up and make some noise, bring home a first belt. And let's see. Time to talk some Street Fighter.
Street Fighter. Yeah, you want to talk strong brackets? I point
This
you
is
in the
nuts.
direction of Group 1 and 2
Yeah,
Street Fighter.
this is
Holy
crazy.
moly. Woodbury City is your top overall seed with a perfect 7-0, 21-0 season. Hoboken not far behind, 7-0, but they did drop some games there, some sets. Cape May Tech also went undefeated in Group One. Group One was big, so they didn't happen to play Woodbury. So we actually have two undefeated teams coming out of Group One, which could shake things up. But that also means that Oakcrest, Manchester Regional, right behind at 6-1, also very powerful teams. Absegami, I don't think there's a fighting game they're not good at.
Right.
So you've got them coming in as a very dangerous 6 seed. Mercer Tech, again, just a very diligent program where they're going to put in the work on the minutia and the little things to get it done. And Hawthorne rounds out our top 8 with that 8 seed at 4-3.
Love it. And we throw it up on the bracket. Looks like we got Woodbury playing Hawthorne in the first round. We got Oakcrest against Manchester. We got Cape May Tech versus Absegami. A little battle of the southern schools there. And then we got Hoboken versus Mercer Tech. Hard to bet against Woodbury. I know right now, just like my last call, they're cheering. They're saying Avila's gets it. They know the work that Mr. Woodbury, John DeMarco, puts in with his kids. Talk about a fighting game guru, Coach DeMarco. He's going to have these kids ready to go. And I think you saw a dominant performance from Woodbury. I'm very excited to see Woodbury maybe catch a match here, whether it's Hoboken or Cape May, right? One of them they're going to see in the finals. So from my middle of the bracket, I think Oakcrest, like you said, pretty competitive all season. And I know Coach Wynn over there at Absegami loves him some Street Fighter, so I'm not going to sleep on Absegami either.
Yeah, I have to go with Hoboken. They're finding ways to get it done, right? So I know they did drop 7 throughout the course of the season. It wasn't the cleanest of performances, but you don't have to win clean to win the whole thing.
True.
Winning is winning, right? So I'm going with Hoboken, but I think Cape May Tech is very dangerous as well as Mercer Tech, right? So, and that's Hoboken's first round match. I think it's a dangerous matchup. I think Group 1 for Street Fighter in particular is extremely strong, as we saw, multiple undefeated teams. And so I think Group 1 can be pretty dangerous in this bracket overall. And Mercer in particular, they're going to be prepared, right? So who knows what can happen.
There you go. And now let's take a look at the big kids. Street Fighter Group 3 and 4.
Yeah, Peaburg takes your top seed. Phillipsburg in a 7-0. Dover takes the top seed. I think they are the Group 3 school there. Bayonne is your 3. Oh my goodness, Bayonne and Plainfield sitting right next to each other again. Garfield is your 5. Cumberland at 5-2 is your 6 seed. Egg Harbor Township is coming in as the 7, and the Western Pennsylvania School for the Deaf. This is not a Slash Comets program. This is the Western Pennsylvania School for the Deaf coming all the way out from the Pittsburgh area.
Yep.
To sit down for some Street Fighter on the 21st.
Beautiful. And we throw it up on the big screen. We got Phillipsburg versus WPSD. We got Plainfield Garfield. We got Bayonne Cumberland. And then we got Dover versus Egg Harbor Township. Who you like, Mike?
I like Plainfield. Again, Mr. T has them ready to go. They're strong in Smash. They're strong in Street Fighter. Those kids are grinding over there, and I know that they're putting in the work as well. But Dover's my to watch. I think they're a very strong program, and it'll be fun to watch them make some noise again in the bracket. I believe they went pretty far last year, if I'm remembering correctly. But Egg Harbor Township is my dark horse coming out as the 7 seed again. Facing my to watch. So I think that is whoever wins that has a path. Potentially to get to the final of the whole thing.
Absolutely. And listen, if I am remembering correctly, Peaburg is one of the biggest schools that we have in
Period.
Yeah. There's thousands of kids. It's going to be hard to overcome that pool. and I know they're working hard over there. They had an unbelievable season. I think the when Peaburg gets some momentum, it's hard to stop, right? In anything that they do at that school. So I like Dover though, just like you. I don't think if it's Peaburg, I think it might be Dover. And my dark horse is Garfield. And I notice like the words keep getting more cut off as the slides go. I feel like our scene is slowly sliding. I'm looking at it going like, how do I lose more words every time the scene changes? Because as you can imagine in the warm up, like it all worked great.
Everything's great.
But when we go live, let's break. But that's dark horse, and I like Garfield.
I think the top half of this bracket is very hard.
Yes.
I think Peaburg, if they get past WPSD, they get the pleasure of facing either Plainfield or Garfield in the semifinals. Like that is a tough row to hoe, as they say.
Mm-hmm. And you got Bayonne, Cumberland, you got Dover. I mean, Dover Bayonne could be a final.
Yeah.
So, absolutely going to be what our friend JR say, slobber knocker. It's going to be a slobber knocker, my friend. Let's talk about Overwatch. Now it's going to get nuts.
Yeah, so Overwatch.
Just Garden State Esports, we like us some Overwatch, man.
Yeah, we're pretty good at this game here in New Jersey. So group, we had enough teams to split into 4 school-size groups. So this is Group 1. Cape May Tech 7-0, 14-0, and then Group 1 North just like punched everyone in the face. Like it was just an elbow fest up there.
Mm-hmm.
The last match week of the season saw matchups between Woodbury and Mercer to decide seeding there. You had a 3-way tie at 6-1 for Brearley, Hawthorne, and Liberty in Group 1 North. So this is a deep bracket as well, right? We talk about it. Anytime you have a 6-1 team as a 5 seed, this is a deep bracket, and anybody can really make a run here. But Brearley wins the Group 1 North Championship with their head-to-head win over Hawthorne.
Mm-hmm.
Hawthorne then gets the 3 seed as they edge out Liberty on playoff score, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that single drop map does make a difference. Woodbury comes in as your 5 seed, also at 6-1. They had the head-to-head over Mercer. And then McNair and Haddon Heights were tied. And we had to go to the hundredths of a point in strength of schedule in order to decide who was 7 and who was 8. Though it's really kind of pick your poison because both of you are playing conference champions. So, but this is a scary one. This is a spicy bracket.
Yeah, yep, absolutely. And we take a look on the bracket. Cape May Tech, Haddon Heights. You got Liberty Woodbury. You got Hawthorne Mercer. You got David Brearley versus McNair. And Overwatch is going to be different than the other leagues that we've looked at so far because you are going to play 1 round remote. Everybody else, if you saw your name so far on that bracket, you're going to Georgian Court, right? Get the buses going. For our Overwatch teams, right? Everybody's going to play 1 remote round, and that remote round is going to be February 12th. It is ahead of a long weekend, so please make sure you take steps to ensure that you can play your match. We are not looking to do reschedules and try to push this into, days before Georgian Court.
Yeah, it's a tight window too, right? The X factor for all of these round 1 matchups is 2 days after the what they're calling season 1 now.
Yeah.
Of Overwatch comes out on February 10th, so it's 2 days after patch day, which means it's a very narrow needle to thread for this match. So we know some schools they like to pile on, a Thursday, Friday to the Monday off. But we can't move the match earlier because we don't even know if the servers are going to be up on Tuesday.
Right.
Playing it on Monday is not fair because now you're playing under different rules from everybody else playing the playoff matches.
Right.
And if you bump it back to after the weekend, now whoever wins that match has 4 days to prepare for finals, and whoever wins is now at a disadvantage. So you are forewarned. We're playing this match on Thursday. West Essex actually has a half day that day, and I already told all my kids, bring lunch. You're staying. So we're looking to play these first round matches on the 12th in the interest of a level playing field and equity between everybody.
100%. And I'll tell you.
And they are best of 5 now.
Yes.
So your regular season matches were best of 3. these matches are best of 5. You must win 3 maps in order to win the match.
That's right. And I can tell you there's other leagues out there like Garden State Esports, teacher run nonprofits, and a lot of us run Overwatch in the winter. So I think we got to go call up Blizzard and tell them they got to move this patch to like a different season or something like that. Every year.
March would be great.
Yeah, every year they're dropping, game changing
Game
matches.
altering changes.
Right, in the middle of thousands of schools involved in these scholastic esports leagues. So maybe I'll send them an email and tell them, hey, you got to do something about this. But for me, you said it, David Brearley beat Hawthorne in a barn burner. Was it yesterday? Listen, I think they're going to carry that momentum. I'm gonna pick myself a little David Brearley here to bring home a first state championship, knocking off Hawthorne. In a big match like that, jumping up to top of the bracket with that head to head. You got to respect it. You know what I mean? You go into playoffs, momentum is a big deal. But I think if Brearley can't get it done, that means Hawthorne gets some revenge and maybe they ride that wave into a state championship. You like Cape May Tech?
I do. I think I may have heard that Coach Marcus down there has his eyes set on the FPS trifecta. So they were our Group 1 champions and rivals.
Yeah.
I think he wants to win the Group 1 Overwatch, and then I think he wants to win the Group 1 Valorant in the spring. These kids, put together a perfect season. They didn't drop a single map. They're organized. They're prepared. But so is Woodbury. Woodbury, rose through the standings table throughout the season, and you blink your eyes and they're 6-1. But they're in a dangerous spot, right? That 5 seed, you upset a 4. Now no one was looking at you, and now you're sitting in a semifinal match right away. So they're my to watch. But Mercer Tech, what do I always say? They will scout your soul. They know what you ate for breakfast and how that is going to affect your APM and your positioning on VGen Tower. They got binders on people. So always a very dangerous team when it comes to any esport that involves scouting, preparation, and strategy. They're sitting down and they're punching way above their weight class. I think there's Coach Corrigan may correct me in the chat if he's here, but I think there's 80 kids in that school.
I think even less.
For them to consistently put together rosters of these 5-on-5 teams that are in the playoffs, that are making runs to championships, is extremely impressive. So to ignore them at your own peril, you have been warned.
That's it. Don't want to get caught in a trap match with Mercer Tech. And my dark horse is going to be Mainland. I think Mainland is due. I like picking teams who, a lot of times we think about the playoffs and having been there before, being helpful, right? Playing in front of thousands of people, it's so loud, 15 minutes for warm-up. Having played at our live events before, I think can help. But I also think there's something to say, sometimes a team comes out of nowhere who's never been there before. I think about like a Southern Regional Middle School, I think about a Stafford, I think about a Southern Regional High School, right? Even that little pocket down here in South Jersey, they showed up ready to go. So,
same thing happened with Livingston.
Yeah, Livingston, exactly.
Sometimes, they say you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
And they walk in and they're just like, yeah, you're just going to play the game.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people here now. That's all it's different.
We're going to click on heads.
Yeah, so.
There we go. Let's talk about Group 2.
Group 2! Well. Surprising no one. Barnegat is your top seed at a perfect 6-0. Did not drop a map. I believe that makes now 3 regular seasons in a row that Barnegat has not lost a map. That's terrifying. Again, pluggy little school from Essex County as your Group 2 North champions. Also undefeated. Takes that 2 seed. And then we got a whole bunch of strength of schedule matchups here. So, a lot of the Group 2 sort of, went on schedule, as they say, with teams winning the, exact number that they needed to get the records that they have. So we split that basically on strength of schedule between the North and the South. And the South strength of schedule was slightly better because those South teams all had to contend with Barnegat.
True.
So Pleasantville is your 3 seed, South Plainfield is your 4, Mainland is your 5, Ocean is your 6, Morris Hills is your 7, and Manasquan rounds out the top 8.
we go. And so we throw it up on the big board. Barnegat's going to play Squan, South Plainfield versus Mainland. We got Pleasantville versus Ocean. We got West Essex versus Lawrence Hills. And then we take a look and listen, I'm sorry that Barnegat's in your conference, bud. That's unfortunate.
You know, my airdrop of flyers in neighboring towns to get people to move into Barnegat so that they would be bumped up to Group 3, just apparently it didn't work. The housing market is just so cold right now.
There's a young fellow over there by the name of Nicholas Sellers. I don't know if you've ever heard of him.
He's okay.
He just caught himself some interest from Winthrop and Syracuse, and you're talking about a top 100 DPS player holding down Barnegat. I think they have 400 state championships at this point. So listen, I'm taking Barnegat by 1 million. If somehow a meteor hits Earth and there's some people left to play, Barnegat, can't make it, whatever bus breaks down, then I think maybe we got a South Plainfield making some noise. We're going to take some Morris Hills as my dark horse because Coach Sabatini always brings the heat. But listen, I mean, I'm sorry you got to play Barnegat.
I'm a little offended that you think if a meteor hit Barnegat, we wouldn't win the championship.
Listen, I'm literally, I don't think I can ever vote for you because,
oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Like, you just keep taking wins off me and picks, so I feel if you're picking you, I got to pick against you to somehow catch you.
It's strategic. Okay.
It's strategic. It's not personal. I think you're wonderful. Okay. I think your kids are wonderful. If you make it to the finals, though, I'm sorry.
Well, I think we could do it. The guys in the room have been working really hard, like everybody in the league has. But I think this crew is special in what they're able to accomplish. So I'm picking us to win, shock the world. Surprising no one. I've got my eye on Barnegat. They're an incredibly strong group. Perennially, sniffing around the championships even before, Nick was in high school. It's just a very strong program that Coach Sellers has put together down there.
Yeah.
But my dark horse is Ocean. Very dangerous. We saw them in the regular season. Very knowledgeable of the game. They know counters to heroes, map picks to pick to amplify their strengths, and so they're a team at that bottom portion of the bracket that I think can shock some people because while their record may not show it in a best of 5 where you get more time to analyze your opponent and react and counter, they're very dangerous to consider.
Absolutely, but I think short of Nick Sellers doing a WWE heel turn and maybe hitting somebody with a chair and jump into another team,
But I am looking forward to, hopefully, it does come to fruition. There's a couple of rounds in between there. You don't overlook anybody in a bracket like this, where tie breaks are coming down to strength of schedule. We might finally get our heart rate monitor matchup between me and Coach Sellers because we are historically breath holders, and just, which coach faints first while the teams are playing in front of them should be interesting.
Maybe I'll see if I can get a coach cam on you guys again. And watch the veins in your head and neck throb.
There is a video still circulating of our Valorant Championship and my facial reactions during clinching rounds.
Oh, let's talk about Group 3.
Yeah, Group 3 has some okay teams in it as well. You've got Freehold Borough putting together a perfect season, looking to repeat as title winners again. In Group 3 this time, I think they were in Group 4 last time. But the spread of teams changed. High Tech back on top. High Tech has won an Overwatch championship before.
Mm-hmm.
Many moons ago, they won the Group 3 North championship.
Right.
Long Branch, another strong team. Garfield, Marvel Rivals winners. Marvel Rivals runners-up, rather. Sorry, coming in as your 4 seed. So 2 games are very similar. So it's exciting to see them succeed at this one as well. Dover is your 5 seed. Middletown South, perennial Overwatch strength there. Cherry Hill West, same thing, and Colonia rounding out the top 8.
Beautiful. And again, they will play a remote round. that should say February 12.
Oh,
Boom. And it will be Freehold Borough versus Colonia. We got Garfield versus Dover. We got Long Branch versus Middletown South. And we got High Tech versus Cherry Hill West. What happened? Where am I going?
I don't know.
I clicked
Where
the
are
wrong,
you?
I clicked the wrong thing, guys. We're back. Don't worry about it. We're good. I forgot what slide I was on. I got to scroll down. There we go. Listen, I think Freehold's hard to beat. Freehold, got some players, got a state championship last year, I believe went undefeated, untouched last year, and did it again. It's their championship to lose. So I know I'm hoping to go out there. I'm going to collect some footage of Freehold players at the Combine. Live by Freehold. I'm going to go over there, catch some playoff matches, and then put some footage together on their journey to a state championship. So I think Freehold. I'm all in on Freehold right now. But if it ain't Freehold, I like myself some Long Branch. I like myself some September. I remember the Cinderella story that they put together last year, and you talk about a team and a school who can upset, make some noise, shock some people. Long Branch did it last year. May be able to do it this year. And then there's Cherry Hill West, man. One of those schools that's just big enough and competitive enough, and you never know. What the coaches got in store over there. So that's what my picks are looking like. What do you got?
I'm thinking Long Branch takes it down. I also, Overwatch is a tank-driven game. If your tank isn't taking space and securing the field for your DPS players to do their jobs, you're not going to go very far. And Long Branch is one of the best tanks in the state. We're going to see him play tomorrow on stream in front of 27 colleges. So that'll be interesting to see how far Long Branch can power through and get home the belt. But High Tech, again, Marvel Rivals and Overwatch are extremely similar games, and I think the skill sets are very similar. So I was letting the Rivals sort of brackets inform my decisions here in Overwatch, and High Tech took home a belt. So I think we have to keep our eyes on them as well. Undefeated during their regular season in a strong Group 3 that has teams like Garfield and others in it. So for them to go undefeated on that schedule makes me want to watch them. And Dover back at it. A high lower half of the bracket maybe as a 5 there.
Yep.
But I think they can go and do some damage in a bracket like this, where again that 4-5 is a dangerous spot. You pull an upset, you've got momentum, and suddenly a team that maybe didn't even scout you because they're like, oh, they're the 5, they're gonna lose. They have no idea what you're about to do.
They got no game plan.
Yeah.
And here comes your pharmacy. Let's take a look at the big kids, Group 4.
Yes, Group 4 was a super conference.
Yes.
So we did not divide them into North and South. But these are schools, we decided to just take these 11 schools. They were all, there was like a clear delineation around something like 2,000 students in grades 10 through 12. And so when we were making conferences, we made the decision, these guys are too big to put with anyone else. They need to go just beat up on each other.
Yes.
So East Brunswick comes out of that scrap heap on top. Perfect. We have Union with the head-to-head over Old Bridge, stealing that 2 seed. Old Bridge at the 3. Bayonne and Plainfield, old friends, will be facing each other in the first round as the 4 and 5 seeds. Then we have Passaic County Technical Vocational School, I believe is the acronym. Nailed it. First try. Comes in as the 6th seed by virtue of their strength of schedule. And that enables St. Peter's to jump east side with the head-to-head win. And you see, because it was an 11-team conference and we take the top 8, you see some of the records, at the bottom half of the bracket. But, these are schools that their 5 kids, because of how many they have, these are still quality players, right? And upsets, we see it all the time. Upsets in the first round lead to upsets in the semifinals when you get there. So this is still anybody's ball game.
Absolutely. We take a look at it on the bracket. East Brunswick's going to play East Side. Bayonne's going to play Plainfield. Uh-oh. Old Bridge going to play PCTVS. And then we got Union playing St. Peter's. And listen, I think Old Bridge, Coach Weiss, you know him. I don't know if there's a more intense coach in the state bringing that wrestler mentality to the esports room. I think he gets the job done. I think we're going to see Old Bridge bringing home an Overwatch title. I recently found out that Coach Weiss was nominated for Teacher of the Year in his school district. So you're talking about a guy living his best life. I think it just gets better when he brings home an Overwatch title. You know, there's no way that he's not bringing that thing to bed and putting it under his pillow. So that's a guy who likes to win, and I think he finds a way. And if it's not Old Bridge, listen, I'm going deep. I'm going past my dark horse. I think East Side out of Newark, you know? I'm going to make up some points on you. East Side comes in, shocks the world. They travel deep. That's one of the things I appreciate. When Newark schools come, they bring all the kids. And, you know, we've seen whether it's Burnett or Newark, Matawan travels really well. These schools that travel really well, and they bring the crowd, they bring the fans, they bring the parents. It makes a difference. And so, listen, let's shock the world, East Side. What do you got?
I have to give this to East Brunswick. I think they've demonstrated that they are a class above. And I think that they are well poised to take that championship. But I'm with you. I think Coach Weiss has his guys ready to go. Well organized. They strategize well. They usually have their finger on the meta of high school Overwatch, and are ready to break it when necessary. But my dark horse is PCTVS.
Okay.
They're a sneaky pick sometimes, where they come out of the middle meat of that bracket and pull off an upset here and there. We've seen it in past seasons where they're not a name that gets bandied about. They put their heads down and they click people.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's kind of why I went with St. Peter's. Is St. Peter's has shocked some people before in GSE. You know, they snuck up, and who knows? They might be able to do it again. So I'm liking St. Peter's as my dark horse. But that is it. So if you saw your names mentioned in Overcooked or Street Fighter, go get your bus. Don't tell me you don't have a bus. Don't tell me you're not coming. Right? You should have prepared for this. It's time. You made it. Bring everybody. Bring mom, dad, sister, brother. Bring the principals. Bring the supers. Bring the teachers. Bring the fans. And come have a great time. February 21st over at Georgian Court University. And if you are an Overwatch team, don't forget you have to play your virtual round on the 12th for all of the reasons that Mike talked about. But we also like to wrap it up with All-Stars. And so our All-Stars are players who were voted by their coach as well as the opposing coach as their player of the game. And we let our coaches decide what player of the game means. That could be the most dominant player. That could be the kid who stepped up because somebody was absent, or the kid who played their role in Overwatch as the healer and, healed out of their skin. Whatever our coaches believe a player of the game was, they get to cast a vote. And what we do is you get to vote for somebody on your team as the coach of that team, but then you will also vote for somebody on the opposing team. And what we do is we tend to weight opposing coaches' votes higher, right? Because if you catch the attention of an opposing coach and that opposing coach goes, wow, that was, the player of the game, we think that's a little bit weighted more heavily than your own coach who sees you every day picking you for player of the game. And so as we reveal our All-Stars, we remind our All-Stars and their coaches that you are invited to come to the Winter Championships and be recognized during our All-Star, kind of hour of fun that we put together. We recognize a lot of cool stuff going on around the league. So you are, encouraged to come, come get your certificate, come get your pin, and be recognized as a Garnet State Esports All-Star. And so we will start with our middle school All-Star friends.
Yeah, so middle school Overcooked, we have Aiden from Jackson Township 5-6. We've got Kenyana from Boys and Girls Club Camden. We have Abigail from Burnett, Theo from Matawan, Nabil from Stafford, and Ella from Bayshore.
Absolutely. And I love the representation that we're going to see in Overcooked, right? We get into our high school Overcooked All-Stars. We have Emily Kim from West Essex, Maria T. from Cape May Tech, Ethan S. from Hoboken. We got Kendra from Center School. We got Carries from Waldwick. And we got Guliana C. from Bloomfield. Rounding out our Overcooked All-Stars. And here's our Street Fighter.
Yeah, Street Fighter, we've got Jonathan from Old Bridge, Dorian from Garfield, Josiah from Hoboken, Jose from Hawthorne, Robert from Plainfield, Eric from Bayonne, Gabriel from Manchester, and Nathan from Jonas Salk. So we did have a couple middle school participants in our Street Fighter season.
Sure did.
Jonas Salk just missed the cut in that Group 3-4 bracket. Jonas Salk is a big enough middle school that they are Group 3. Craziness to me. But to see a middle schooler break in as one of the top, 8 Street Fighter players recognized by coaches around the league is fun to see. I like seeing stuff like that.
Well, and don't forget, too, is their middle school, we didn't have enough middle schools to make their own bracket, so they're playing in the Group 3, high school bracket.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't finish last. They just missed the playoffs. They knocked, they finished above a couple high schools. So shout out over there to Coach Chuck and Jonas Salk for great season. And
you know who's excited about it? Coach Weiss.
Oh, absolutely. That's the feeder program. He's rubbing his hands together saying, okay.
That's right, high school advisors. Build a relationship with your middle school, and you too can form a dynastic program of gamers.
That's it.
From 6th through 12th grade.
Beautiful. And so taking a look at our Overwatch All-Stars, we got Aaron from Freehold who will be at the Combine. We got Finn from Long Branch who will be at the Combine. We got Gabriel from Mercer, who I think's at the Combine.
I believe he's at the Combine.
Yeah. We got Marcelo from Hawthorne in the chat. Wonderful job, Marcelo. We got Nick Sellers from Barnegat picking up scholarship offers, definitely at the Combine tomorrow. We got Amelia from Wallkill Valley. We got Arturo from Garfield. We got Omar from Pleasantville. Anthony from Old Bridge.
Who will be at the Combine.
Will be at the Combine. Jack from West Milford. Caden from Middletown South. And Larray from Plainfield. So congratulations to our Overwatch All-Stars.
And keep your eye on Larray from Plainfield, because as we move to the next slide,
hello,
there they are again as an all-star for Valkyrie. So Valkyrie is doing its job, right? So we're getting players to come out for teams and be on teams, and they step directly into the co-ed program and prove themselves to be among the best players in the state.
Love
right?
it.
Plainfield is a playoff team on the co-ed championship side. They're a high seed. They're performing at a high level. Right in the middle of it is Larray. So love to see it. We've got Jaden from Barnegat, who I know is also on Barnegat's dominant co-ed team.
Absolutely.
We've got Ania from Mercer Tech, Jasmine from Bayonne, Sophia from Mercer Tech, and Arlene from Plainfield. So bunch of strong Valkyrie players here that are making noise in and out of the Valkyrie Overwatch season.
Love it. And that's part of why we make sure that we have opportunities to get everybody in the game, because it bleeds out into the co-ed team and everybody's better together. So taking a look at the schedule, let's not forget that you have a playoff match on the 12th if you play Overwatch. And if you win, then you're coming to see us on the 21st at the Winter Finals for Georgian Court. If you're anybody else outside Overwatch, that's you, Street Fighter. That is you, middle school and high school Overcooked. We will see you at Georgian Court University. Please make sure you talk to their kids. Make sure they have the day off. They don't have to work. We expect everybody to be there. Participation when you join our seasons are mandatory. So get those buses, which I'm sure you have reserved, and we will see you at Georgian Court. Please remember, we will have our mandatory coaches meeting for those that make the championships on Monday at 8 o'clock. I sent out that Zoom link this morning in our latest league email. But as always, we're excited to see everybody. The comic book store is back. Colleges are going to be in attendance. We got lots of fun stuff to do. So everybody's welcome to come. We got Woodbury and Coach DeMarco and his crew setting up the walk-up tournaments, which all look really exciting. Again, there's a bunch of Smash Melee, and a bunch of other good stuff. So, Coach DeMarco and the Woodbury kids, they run a very cool little walk-up and, play area where everybody can find something to do. So watch the state championship, go play in a tournament, go catch a comic book, and make some new friends and have a great time. So there's nothing like a Garnet State Esports State Championship, and we hope to see you there. And here's our floor plan. Mike, anything special? Looking pretty standard these days.
If you came to the fall, it's basically the same footprint. You enter in the bottom right of this diagram, and that's where you check in, and we point you to where you need to go. You're going to go see Waz over at the tournament info, back by the built-in stage there, where all the brackets are posted. You'll get your informational packet. As you can see, it's a basketball court, and we fill it with 3 stages plus a LAN area. It's chaos, but it's way more controlled. It gets more controlled every season. So it's a great time to be around. There's matches everywhere. If you've never been to one, definitely come and check it out. They're a great thing to be around. Just happy esports people everywhere. If you have been to a regional wrestling tournament or a sectional track meet, that's the vibe, right? There's just competition happening everywhere. You can go see whatever you want to see. Friendships are forged, hearts are broken,
Championships are won.
Belts are distributed.
There we go. Beautiful.
Just the last slide is a skybox view. Hopefully they have the main entrance open again.
They do not
have. No, of course not. So make sure your bus doesn't jackknife in the entrance and makes my head explode.
Yes.
That was fun. You see the casino there circled in red. And for all of our attendees, the parking is on the other side of the library in that massive lot, and it's just a short walking distance away. One last note on the live events. I know it's February and it will be cold. Try and minimize how much stuff you bring.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It will not be cold inside the casino.
Correct.
So big puffy jackets, things like that, those are just space takers. We do have overflow space that we can access, but then you're not where everything's happening. You're not in the room where it happens. So try and avoid the big puffy coats and the winter gloves and the snow pants, because the room gets filled and the fire marshal. I think the winter is the one where the fire marshal needs us the most.
Yes.
So they will kick people out as we start to fill completely up. So
Beautiful.
just wanted to throw the jacket note out there like we always do.
There we go. So we will take this bracket. We will post it up in the Discord, so that way everybody knows who they're playing, when they're playing, and all that good stuff. Obviously, if anybody has any questions, please reach out to Mike or myself, or official@gsesports.org, and we will make sure we get all of your questions answered. The other thing, I'll give a quick shout out tomorrow. Starting at about 9 a.m., we are doing the first ever Combine for Garden State Esports. We have about 30 colleges coming out, bringing over $1 million in scholarship opportunities to see the best 60-plus players that Garden State Esports has to offer. We'll be playing Overwatch, we'll be playing Valorant, we'll be playing Rocket League, and we'll be playing Smash. And so we have colleges both in New Jersey. About half of the colleges are from Jersey. The other half are from outside of Jersey. So we got people coming as far away as from Texas and beyond to come and see who obviously is the best talent in the country, and that's the students and players of Garden State Esports. So if you want to see the Combine, you can watch tomorrow's stream starting about 9 o'clock, and we'll go from there. So thank you, Mike, as always, for all the hard work, and thank you to the competition committee for making this all happen, and thank you to everybody else from Garden State Esports team. Thank you to the coaches in the chat, and thank you to the players for making this league as amazing as it is. So outside of that, we will see you tomorrow for the Combine. We will see you next week for some playoffs and coaches meeting. And then we will see everybody for the 21st for another championship. Thanks, Mike.
Good night, everybody.
All right, good night.